Everybody, this is the quietest room I've been in all day. Welcome to our annual Jazz Band concert. I hope you are excited. You're in for a really great evening of big band music and World War II remembrances. I don't really know how this theme came to me. I just started picking music and all of it was big band, so it seemed logical. And then I started doing readings and all kinds of research, and it sort of just evolved. And so I'm really excited. The kids have worked really hard. They're super excited, and it's going to be, I think, a great hour or so of music. So I'm not going to talk anymore. Enjoy the concert, and I'll see you afterwards.
Honolulu, November 26, 1941. Dear Southface, Carl's birthday was last Saturday. I had a dinner for him at the club. There's a dinner dance there every Saturday night, and the place is always alive with little dinner parties celebrating this and that. Our table was on the lanai next to the dance floor. There was a Hawaiian orchestra and a hulu dancer, and it was the most graceful I've ever seen. The orchestra came over and played Happy Birthday to Carl when they saw the enormous cake I'd made and decorated for the centerpiece. It was quite gay, with rosebuds, fancy dabs of icing here and there and whatnot. The florist had banged rosebuds around it, and they trailed them off to the ends of the table. The only off-color note was the blue and gold of the placemats. The club furnishes them only Air Corps colors, and I didn't realize it until it was too late to pick up any others. I just love to give parties over here. There's no end to the flowers, odd foods, Chinese, Japanese, Hawaiian, table decorations, etc., that you can find if you just snoop around all the little curio shops. I've never had the opportunity, funds, or facilities for party giving that I have here, and I get such a kick out of it, and I'll miss it to no end when the Army discards us. Everyone stopped by for a bite of cake, and I had our little Filipino take both cake and ice cream to the orchestra. They beamed his only Hawaiian's hand with their gleaming white teeth and bronze skin. You love it all, Flora, and I certainly wish you could come over here on your paint the town red spree. Write us more about your new intelligence job, Herman. It sounds interesting. A very, very Merry Christmas to you both. Love, Lucille. Lawrenceville, Sunday night, December 7th, 1941. My darling, I know you feel exactly like I do right now. I've just been listening to the radio. I've never been so blue or heartsick as I am right in this minute. Oh, my darling, if it were possible, I'd charter a plane, do anything, just to see you for a few minutes. Honestly, Dick, if I don't get to see you, I'm going to lose my mind. Isn't there anything you can do? Because if you don't do it now, you do realize that we may never see each other again. Of course you do. You realize how serious the situation is, even more than I. Darling, they can't take you. The finest, sweetest boy that ever lived and send you away. It just tears my heart out to think of it. Everyone in town here is talking war, war, war. Everyone is sure it'll be declared tomorrow. There are some sad hearts over this world tonight, and none sadder than mine, and your poor mother. There isn't any use of me pretending to feel other than the way I do. It's too serious now. And you know I was pretending if I tried to write a cheerful letter. Pete's in the bathroom crying her eyes out. I think she'd marry Jack tonight, and I don't blame her. She'd have that much. It's better than not having anyone. Remember, this is awful. I know I'm hurting you, and I can't help it. Every word is coming from my heart. I love you, Dick, more than anyone in the world. You know it already, but I want to tell you again. And I'll always love you to the end of my life. I love you because you're fine and good and just the kind of man I've always wanted to meet and love. You meet all the requirements, darling. I'd give everything I own, or ever hope to have, to see you right now. Isn't there anything we can do? Please don't let anything happen without letting me know. Wire me or call me or something. If it's possible. Forever yours, Ruby. point. November 1941. Dear Don, I'm so sorry to hear that you're leaving the school of USA. I've been thinking of you so much I forget what I'm doing. I'd give my life to keep you from going out if it could be arranged, because I've lived through the other war, and I know what it's really all about. I only hope that you won't have to really get into it. Just patrolling will be very tame wherever you go. I hope this letter isn't censored, because wherever you are, I want you to let us know in code whether things are too bad by saying, well, Mom, for poor food or not enough to eat, and well, Pop, for poor conditions. No, please don't forget this, because I really want to know, and I'll have prayers said for you. Did you get your candy okay? I thought I'd have time to send you some other stuff, but I'm afraid it would arrive too late. If you can sneak a letter to us out of camp so we'll know where you're going, do so, because we really are worried for you. This is all for now. God bless you, Don, and be careful wherever you go. Don't pick up any diseases, because if you go in a warm climate, disease is much worse. And I know you've been a model son, whether you're my blood or not, and I want you to always remain that way. Your self-respect means more to me than you'll ever know. Oceans of love and good luck, Mother. June 16th, 1942. My darling, you've only been gone for a few hours and already the house is waiting for you. I came back from driving you out the avenue and began mentally putting away our life together to make room for a new one. Alone. The main difficulty is that there was too much of you here. Your magazines, your book, your ash receiver, your papers still where you dropped them last night, your clothes spilling out of the closet, and even your pajamas flung where they are last night in the bed. But it wasn't until I picked up your shirt you'd worn last night that the feel of you was unbearable. Then this morning's dash and packing and tearing around and ride out to the avenue, and in 15 minutes I sat there in the car after your trolley had gone. Until your car disappeared in the distance, and it all came back. Snatches of our life together, some funny, some sad, some gay, some mad, we're all there. between us forever and not to be wiped out. I stood there holding the shirt, thinking it must go in the laundry, but I couldn't put it in the hamper. I couldn't even lay it down. And that's what it's like. Except that no words can get down to the fully awful reality and finalness of it. The knowledge in one's mind, still unaccepted by senses, that you, the best-natured and most tolerant person in the world, should have to learn to hate and kill, was just as incredible to me as the fact that peculiar oneness of us as a family should be broken. I can't think any longer. I'm groggy a bit. The weather's terrifically hot, and I hope sleepy making. It's not yet 10:15, but I'm going to bed. I'll pretend we're together, and that every once in a while, I must nudge you to make you move over, stop snoring. And if I dream about you, tomorrow will be a lovely day. I love you, Sigrid.
May 10, 1943. Dear Zook, I'm so anxious to hear about the Jive Bombers. Did you knock your audience off their feet? Who thought up of the name? It's darling. And Zook, for the last time, are you the leader? Just think, someday when you're heading for a big-time band, I can drag out my little record and play for all the neighborhood kiddies and my broken-down phonograph in my little shack. I'll be a washwoman probably, but I can dream of the good old days. It's about 11 again. Still have quite a lot of work waiting for me to do. Already, though, I cleaned out the closet and packed up a few of my winter clothes that I'll be needing no longer. Incidentally, I'd almost given up hope of ever hearing from you again. I kept trying to remember what I'd said in my last letter that would anger you so much and cause you not to write. I realize that this is another poor letter from me. I have so much to say to you, but it's all inside of me and I can't seem to write it down. I'd better close. Write soon. Love, Frankie. Gas City, February 17, 1944. My dearest Jim, I suppose you dreaded going back into routine this morning. That's always the bad thing about a furlough. But I hope you won't be in a routine long before you get another furlough. Jim, I'm lost without you. I jump every time the phone rings, although it isn't for me. I can't quite understand what's wrong, can I? The newness still hasn't worn off my pin. I think I look at it at least 60 times an hour. I'm certainly proud to be wearing a pin. I hope you're just as glad to have me wearing it. Well, my darling, I must get to work or I won't have a job to worry about. All my love, Florence. Washington, D.C., August 24th, 1943. My darling Jimmy, I'm at the office right now, honey, and I thought I might start my daily letter to you because there is going to be a daily letter. I just put a 10-page letter in the mailbox this morning, so there really isn't much news. But I just wanted to remind you that I still love you, and I'm waiting for your return to me. You say that absence makes the heart grow fonder, but not so in my case, Jimmy, because I couldn't possibly think of you any more than I do now. I never realized it was possible to love any one person so very much. But now I know. I do miss you more and more all the time. But every day away from you just makes it a day closer to when we'll be able to see each other again. That's what I keep telling myself. It's a little consolation, but that still doesn't keep me from missing you. I read your letters over and over again. Eventually I think I'll know them by heart. This morning I took some dictation and typed it up and went to lunch at 11:15. Honey, are you eating now? You better or you'll get sick. I got my notice of my appointment for Monday to donate blood. I'll be rested up pretty well by that time, so it won't hurt me. And flowers are still very lovely, my sweet. I'm taking good care of them to make sure they last as long as possible. I don't know how I'll ever be able to thank you for all you've done for me. I've gone on a good many dates, boys' dates. but I've never felt about anyone the way I feel about you. If you ever get tired of me, honey, I couldn't go out with any boy and have a really good time again. Honey, if this letter sounds crazy, don't blame me. You made me crazy about you. I just miss you so much that I want to let you know how I feel. For now, my sweet, I must say goodbye. Get a good night of sleep, honey, and I'll be with you always in thought. Remember that. Yours forever, Emma.
December 31st, 1944. Dearest Jim,
I sure feel sorry for all the unengaged and unmarried girls tonight. Only 1.5 hours in which to catch a man. What do you suppose my status will be come next leap year? For whom will I vote? Roosevelt or that other guy? Gee, I'll be 24 during that year. Old age is practically upon me. We came home and I ironed in the living room. The fire is so pretty that I hate to leave it. However, I did pull down the shades so the neighbors couldn't see my sinful ways. Reminds me of the good old days when I used to have dates. The radios were playing tunes from Oklahoma. Don't forget that you asked me for a date to go see it sometime. I hope that doesn't go by the wayside like some other dates I've been asked for. Either everyone has gotten married or else disappeared. I don't care because they're all very dull, and I'll be most unhappy if you stand me up. However, I love you so much that I'll just be contented to see a movie with you. On second thought, there are much more exciting things to do than movies. For instance, watching trains come is a very pleasant pastime I found. Perhaps I've just inherited a love for railroads. I wish you were here. Fire is simply beautiful. Maybe next year? I saw the prettiest picture of a house tonight. It was yellow with white shutters and a sort of gray shingled roof. The door was set back in and there was 2 bay windows in front. I love you, Kay. P.S. Happy New Year. January 10, 1945. My dearest, my thoughts tonight are far-reaching. I know my thoughts of you are very tender ones. Perhaps it's the classical music on the radio, or perhaps it's just because it's Saturday night, our night, that has prompted me to write you my second letter to you today. Whatever the reason, I know I love you and miss you so terribly. I thoughts take me back to a cold, windy night in Maryland. We were standing together in the darkness beside the building at Fort Meade. It was almost time to say our last goodbye. Almost time. You ran your fingers through my hair and said, "Whenever I feel cold, honey, I'll think of you and I'll feel warm." I thought of how you hated the cold, and I thought that soon you'd be leaving me. And I tried so hard not to cry, and I said, "Oh no, don't ever be cold, George. Don't be cold, honey." You ran your fingers through my hair again. "I'll be cold lots of times, Renee, but I'll think of you." I watched you until you were out of sight in the heavy fog that lay over Fort Meade. There were terrible emotions fighting within me. I wanted to run after you. I wanted to call out your name, and I wanted to cry and cry and cry until I couldn't cry anymore. Later, the cab driver must have sensed my feelings as he drove me to the train station. He said to me, "Is your husband going overseas?" I looked out into that deep, dense fog where he'd gone, and I said, "Tonight might be the last time I see him for a long, long time." I hope this letter doesn't make you feel blue, but just once I had to put my true feelings on paper. There'll be more cheery letters tomorrow. All my love and all my life, until that day when God brings you home safely to me. Renee. Essence, January 31st, 1945. My darling, I really feel terrible to think that I'm sitting here in a nice, warm, cozy house, and you're out in that terrible cold fighting. Yes, I know you're fighting, darling. I figure that you must have gone into action on January 30th before dawn. Your division has been mentioned in the paper as one of the... Your division has also been mentioned on the radio as one of the crack divisions. They also talk about your unit receiving the presidential citation. I know you've asked me time and time again to live with you as your letters come and not to think where you'll be 2 weeks hence. I just can't. Frankly, I think the radio tells us too much for our own good. In the last war, they didn't know half as much, and it's better that way. Why, I even know where you are exactly if I follow the news closely. This lonesomeness for you is just gnawing at my heart continually. Oceans of love, darling, and a kiss on every wave. God bless you and keep you. Speed your safe return to me. All my love, all my life, Kathy. December 1943. No, you're not sticking your neck out when you write so often as you do, because I enjoy hearing from you. You'll have to be patient until my mail reaches you. The Christmas rush has probably delayed it from reaching you. I don't care in the least if it happened before we two got together. The past was yours to do with as you pleased, and the future remains to be seen. Seems like we're both reluctant about putting our utmost faith in each other, but in spite of what has been, I'll never tire waiting for you. The only thing that bothers me most is what the outcome will be. Thus, my sweet, with this thought in mind, I close my letter, thinking of you as I always am, as ever. August 15, 1945. Oh, darling, the great news has finally come over the radio. I want to write you a letter, and I want to listen to the radio. I decided to turn off the radio and write you a super duper letter because I'm so utterly happy. Anyhow, as happy as I can be without you. 6:45 p.m., I came upstairs and got in bed to write you a letter. I turned on the radio, and boom, I heard the news, and immediately horns started to blow, there were shouts, etc. My mother had heard the news downstairs, and we began to yell wildly to each other. It seems like a new era has started for me. You see, as far back as I can remember, there's always been a war. Oh, darling, if only you could come home now, right now. I love you so very much. Do you think this can speed up your homecoming? Dearest, I'm so hepped up I can hardly write. We've been waiting so long for this news. I love you very much. Edith.
Buy a donut and some punch.